The reason you don't resonate with your horoscope, like the one from the newspaper, is because you're not a script putting you into a pie of one of 12 archetypes, and that's it. We're way more complex than that. You're a conscious body walking on this earth with all of these planets within you. We're made of the very elements of the planetary material. We are a microcosm of the macrocosm, each a unique puzzle piece that is essential for the totality of the world to work. We are each like glands on this earth. We're each so very different in how the planets and positions shape our lives. So, in the 60s or 70s, biochemist Martin Shomberger discovered that the 64 hexagrams from the Chinese I Ching, which is a part of the human design system, and it is these hexagrams here inside the wheel. There's 64 of them, and they are correlated to the 64 codons in our DNA. So Martin Shomberger figured that out in the 60s or 70s, that there was a direct correlation. And that's why you see on the outside of it, you see the genetic code, the GCU, UCGE, all that, the genetic code, which all breaks down into our human differentiation. So imagine, like, outside of our solar system, there is a genetic matrix. And that genetic matrix is made up of those 64, these 64 different, you can call them gene keys or gates, but they're from the hexagrams and they're related to that. So we have these things called neutrinos, and neutrinos have a little bit of mass. They move almost at the speed of light because they do have a tiny bit of mass. At first, they thought it was just energy, and then it was scientifically proven that they do have mass. So what that means is these neutrinos, billions of them flying through every square second, constantly, everywhere. And it's light packets, it's information, and it's coming out from the star field, from the sun and from the planets. And in a sense, they kind of recycle. So everything that we are doing is also influencing the planets. So not only do the stars and the planets give us the neutrino stream through us, but we also put it back out. So we are also programming the planet at the same time as we're getting this information feed. Now, it's not that some people can tap into it, but there's so many billion neutrinos per second per square inch that, it's a lot of information. But it's all running through us and through the 64 gate matrix, right? So I have my chart up here with the wheel. So this is like the whole solar cell, but I'm the microcosm of the macrocosm, right? So I don't have all of these. I don't have all of these, right? I only have some, which makes me me. It makes my uniqueness, my genetic differentiation, my personality, and my physiology. And where you don't have those activations is where you would be receiving that information and interpreting it through your filters. So literally, we are filtering this information that comes from the star field and the sun. Yeah, so our unique placements show how we interpret and act out this information in our lives. And so this map essentially shows you a blueprint of how you're genetically differentiated and your unique gifts and qualities, as well as where you may be taking on conditioning from others. And what we're doing here is we're awakening the body's cellular matrix. So we've come to find out through biochemistry, biophysics, all these new scientific fields have basically put together how the universe and us work, how we are a microcosm of the macrocosm. And so, yeah, we're awakening the body's cellular matrix. And the body is our subconscious, and it keeps the score, it holds memory. So we have to decondition everything that we've taken in our whole lives, because we we have taken in other people's beliefs, societal expectations, all of these things, and then we don't really get to know who we are. We just have layers and layers of, things put on us from other people. And that's why I love the system, because it showed me what I really, really knew deep down on a deep, deep level about myself. It showed me my gifts and it showed me my challenges, and it made me feel so much better to find out that I was a projector in human design, one of the 4 types. Some people say 5, but it's a subtype. So to find out that I was a projector and how a projector's energy works was very relieving to me, because projectors are here to be guides, and we're here to guide the energy of others. We're here for insight and wisdom. We are not really built to work 40-hour week jobs or anything like that. That's why I got so sick and burnt out, and it's just so fascinating, and to use this information to live your design and live in your energy correctly. Like, for example, this is the chart in the middle, right? So there's 9 centers which are correlated to the chakra system. And now we have what we call gates, or the gene keys, which are from these hexagrams we talked about. And those are activated when they're not activated in a whole channel like this here or this here. It's potential for connection with either planetary transits that are going through that particular gate, or a person. It's relationship charts are so incredibly amazing to look at and to see the connections there. So yeah, so all of these ones that are just hanging, they give me potential to connect and relate to others and experience different ways of using that energy, right? For example, this one down here in the root center. So the root center is all about adrenaline and drive, and it's a pressure center. And mine is open, undefined. It's not colored in. So that means that's where I am receptive to conditioning of others. And these white centers are the spokesperson for our mind. So when we hear that mind chatter, that critical, judgmental, all that stuff, that our mind is our receptors to our openness of all of the conditioning that we've taken in. So that's why it's so important to decondition those limiting beliefs and all of those things that aren't really you. So I have an undefined root center here. So that means that it's about pressure. So I feel very pressured a lot of times to do things faster and get things, either done or out of the way. Or if I'm in a trauma response, then I've completely frozen. And, analysis paralysis. But usually it's undefined root. People just want to get things done and get out of the way. But here, so I have this gate, the gate of joy, the love of life. It's root pressure. And it was called a channel when 2 gates connect. So I don't have a channel there, but my boyfriend does, my daughter does. So when I connect up with them, I get the full energy of the channel, and it's the channel of judgment. The other gate is called the gate of correction, and it's a logical, we have what we call streams. So, going from here, from the root to, this is called the spleen, which is our body's washing machine, basically. It's the lymphatic system, and it's about fear and courage and intuition, and like knowing in the now. So then I get my spleen lit up from my daughter or my boyfriend or a transit or whoever else may have that gate. And I get access to that energy. We have a combined electromagnetic field. And we have different lines in each of the 64 gates. So depending on what line a person has will determine whether you're going to have harmony, resonance, or dissonance. And harmony is when there are say, okay, so there's 6 lines. So say one is a line 1 and one is a line 4. That is a harmony. 2 and 5, 3 and 6. When there's harmony, it's harmony. And because it's a little bit different than just resonance, which would be like just 1 and 1, 2 and 2, whatever, because of the fact that it's a little bit different, so it makes it a little more interesting, and it gives you a really good relationship. So yeah, I don't know. I just wound up rambling into things I wasn't planning on getting into, but I was really trying to talk about the neutrinos, and we're basically in an ocean of neutrinos. If we see what the Earth really looks like, we wouldn't be able to see it all, because we are all one. We're like glands on this Earth, but we have this illusion of separateness, which is caused by, if you see in this chart in the middle, I have this yellow diamond. That's called the G center. It's the center of identity and direction and love. Love, identity, and direction. But we have what is called a magnetic monopole that is in our sternum in that center that is about love, identity, and direction. And that magnetic monopole is what pulls us along our trajectory in our life. And it's monopole, so obviously it's only one pole. It's an instrument of dark matter, and it's an incredible subject to look into. But we have these two hypothetical crystals called a personality crystal and a design crystal. Now, the personality crystal is outside of the head, and that is, how do I say this? So let me go back. So our design crystal is here underneath the head center. It's in our ajna, which is the pituitary glands, the anterior and posterior pituitary glands, while the head is the neocortex, which is what gives us the ability to have self-reflected consciousness. Why we as humans can have self-reflected consciousness, because of this binary that animals do not have. So now we're constantly filtering this neutrino stream, this information field. You can call it the consciousness field, whatever you want to call it. But like, so it has energy and a tiny bit of mass. So what that means is it's, as it's going through us, it's also taking a little bit. Like if two cars, a white and a black car, got into an accident and a little bit of paint got to each other, right? So that's how the conditioning gets in. It gets into our openness, where we are receptive. And then it can, in turn, affect our definition, where we are defined, where we are colored in. Those are our strengths and our gifts. And if we do not properly use our strengths and our gifts, they will atrophy. And that's kind of why I'm doing this now, because I need to, I have this channel from the G center I just spoke about, the center of self, identity, and direction, to the throat, which is all about communication, manifestation, and action. And so I need to speak from the heart of who I am and express for expression's sake. The 1-8 needs to express for expression's sake. I don't know why for so long I felt like, oh, I shouldn't record videos and take up space. There's other people talking about this information. But everybody has a unique view, a unique outer authority for others, and to share their wisdom. And, I'm not here for everybody, but those who do resonate with me, they're on my fractal. They're my people. And, I prefer quality over quantity anyway. So to have a quality group of people who get me is much better than having a million fans to me, you know what I mean? So yeah, so I'm expressing for expression's sake with my channel 1-8 here. And the channels in this system, they come from the Kabbalah. And they are life force. The channels are a literal life force. All right, guys, take care.